Well, it's the end of the regular season for the IGL summer circuit, so it's time to take some shots, I guess. So I've been hinting about this on the main club stream, and I guess to be front up, the views expressed therein are just my views. So with that out of the way, well, we have a glaring problem, so we might as well. Well, I don't know. I'm doing this all off the top of my head. I'm deciding whether or not if I should save it or not. It's a granted, this is one person's view, but I have likened this problem to basically uh, my dissatisfaction with IGL um, the previous season. So what happened in the spring is, first of all, I gave praise for IGL for doing this, and it really, the problems it caused there and was just, you could sort of foresee it, but I don't know how you like head it off way in advance. So they put in a once league, among other things. Um, expanded everything out, for West, and did all that. I think that's great. Even if I somewhat jokingly say is that a lot of the tiers and divisions for out West are really defaulty. Um, I don't know what it looks like for Europe, um, but I'm glad that there is you know, a I shouldn't say region, but circuits dedicated to European play. Just because I think anytime that you can open up, basically ground level organized play, I think that's always a good thing. There's always struggles that come with it, but again, I always think that for the most part that IGL has done a good job. Most of my criticisms still stand. I still think they're short staffed. There's just, I don't know how they can fix that other than getting more people, but I think short staffed is now just going to be a running theme. And when, again, I have no idea what the books look like, but obviously the income that they have would come from Twitch streams, if they have any subscribers on their YouTube channel, and the memberships. The league is free to play, just like, I don't know, I would liken it to mobile games, but mobile games are still there's almost still a very pay to win aspect. Whereas in IGL, there's not pay to win. It's like, I don't know. It's basically like how you would subscribe to, a streamer or someone who puts out content on YouTube only. You think they're doing a good job, and you would like to support them. So yeah, like, I'm probably still gonna criticize IGL every 3 months for feeling like it's short-staffed, but you know, it's kind of like it's a part of the beast. It's a part of the machine. Um, so I sort of got sidetracked on that. But the one's problem was, um, again, this is just from my viewpoint, but I'm sure it was not um, enjoyable for a lot of people who were stuck in, um, with a similar schedule as mine is. I only played 3 games. I went 0-3 in my games, but finished the season 3-3. I got in the playoffs, and it was very undeserved. And then inexplicably, I won my first round. But yeah, um, yeah, the ones for me was like I hate the mode. I understand it exists. Fine, whatever. So I'm just putting in a little time, trying to make some improvements here and there, and just trying not to just hate it all the time. But after sitting for essentially 3 weeks, because there were a bunch of quitters, um, I lost a lot of enthusiasm. And I signed up knowing I would very well go 0-6, but I just didn't care. I was there to, play some additional games, get some experience, and figure out what I was doing wrong, which surprised I'm still doing wrong. I'm trying to work through that. But one's, basically sucked. And I was really down on IGL after that. Thankfully, in the off season, they went ahead and corrected that. They basically say you couldn't play once unless you'd been through a circuit. And I found that things were a lot more enjoyable. So, yeah, they fixed the one problem. I went 1-5. Just kind of had the game of my life against an opponent, because I feel like I was always the underdog. Just made no mistakes, and beat my opponent. That sort of happens from time to time. So 5 of the matches I enjoyed playing. The 6th one I was just really down on myself. This is the 6th week. It wasn't because I was 1-4 or whatever. I was just just kind of really really down and not in a good mind space, and it kind of showed. My opponent beat the tar out of me, and and I straight up deserved to lose that. But I was happy how ones went. Threes is a different matter altogether. They're not going to fit. So I'm a sub for this. This is my squad. And I'm a sub. And I'm the worst player. Like, I've been trying to get acclimated to Champ 3 Grand Champ, and I've just been having sort of a miserable time at it. I don't know what it is. So this is a schedule in Tier 2 Division 5, the B Conference. So there's a lot of things that need to be unpacked. I'm not happy about this. And oh, by the way, there's another team in this conference who had a lot of shared opponents. I think the way the scheduling works is you have 4 or 5 shared opponents, and it's like this big web from there. And again, if you've seen like my praising on the BBC channel, Best Buds Club channel, Best Buds Club Network on Twitch, I'm not bad about this loss. World Titans have been really very good. We've been playing together, all that. So like, there's 4 divisions in Tier 2. So essentially 8 conferences or whatever, and 3 BBC teams got drawn into a conference of 19 or 20 or whatever. So like, whatever, like, here comes randomness gonna kick its ugly head. And like, from like a club standpoint, you think, club/org standpoint, you think there would be, a strategy here. Well, it's Yeah, so it's hard to provide information feedback when people are no showing. Oh, and like again, oh look, this is saying non IGL franchise org. Um, and there's also a theme here through for all of this. Um, which is there were a lot of teams playing up. Um, okay, so whatever. I'll go in the circuit. Um, yeah, forfeits. There's a team that forfeited in week 3, and they should be out of the league. Yeah. So this is a team that gave up after 1 week, and it's a team playing up. So, like, I'm not sure if they didn't read the rules or whatnot, but here we are. But this is a common theme also, is a lot of teams that I had problem with are teams that are playing up, and it sort of works that way in ranked, is that you're not playing the average, you're playing basically the top of your team is the baseline. So, and then obviously then coupled with that, you start having this bullshit. It's a problem. Like, when they do theirs. Against the same team, no less. And there's another one out there. I broadcast like 3 of these, and then I broadcast a 4th one where the team gave the illusion that they were trying, but they really weren't. And again, it was the team playing up. Yeah, this is a problem where teams quit. Teams don't read the rules. Teams don't know what they get into. I'm not sure what IGL should do. Like, if I feel it understanding the basics. I don't know. Maybe they need to just make sure that placement is at the top of everything. So it goes back to just like there's a part of this that is eventually on the onus of the captains and the rest of the team, is understanding what you're signing up for and whatnot. And I get, like, it's the internet. Like, you're anonymous, you could disappear, and you can make life miserable for everyone because never stop being you, internet. And you can quit without consequence. But again, like I'm of a different frame of mind. Is I finish what I start, even if I don't like what I'm doing. Again, it goes back to the ones. So, we have this perfect confluence of just basically a bunch of quitters, um, you know, and just lack of matches. And again, I showed three teams, with two forfeit victories on their record. And that's not good. I don't think it's good for any integrity of competition. And again, I know people don't take this seriously, but I feel that this is like the ground level for organized play. It's not going to be as cutthroaty as any qualifier that's out there. But on the other hand, I still think that there's, this is the ground level, and you should behave yourself a certain way. So, yeah. So I'm once again really down on IGL. Just having cast a bunch of bullshit matches. Having also been scheduled and last minute. Oh, we're just not going to show up and take the forfeit. You know, So I don't know. Well, I do know. I do know what IGL can do with a bunch of quitters and self-absorbed people. Again, I'm being harsh here is because this is essentially the second season in a row, and I cast a 20-goal game last season. So, from a personal standpoint, I'm at the end of my rope. So, with that aside, what can IGL do to fix this? Well, I think it's pretty simple as IGL needs to continue to do what they do in ones. So, I know for Rocket League that's going to make it impossible to play Rocket League. Because, if you can't play ones unless you've played a previous IGL circuit, and granted, there's crossover, but, for the most part, usually if you play Rocket League, you play Rocket League. There's nothing wrong with playing, in other games that IGL offers. I think that's great. I think it's great that IGL offers all these, different games, and circuits, and has circuits for them. I think it's a fantastic idea. But, so approaching this from a Rocket League solution, you can't really have you need to play in a totally different game to play in Rocket League. So there's actually going to be, there still will be, I think, 2 stages, 2 tiers, whatever, I think, for Rocket League under what I'm thinking. Basically, it's IGL probation. That's basically for all, they can apply it across the board. But for basically all the new teams, there is, a tier, and if there's new teams, whatever. But, basically, for IGL, it's basically all these new teams. They can go there. Again, I don't know what the percentage is, but they could just go play there. And then if they manage to finish the season, then they could play it. They could play in, I don't know, whatever, the normal circuits, and then obviously they've completed, a circuit in IGL, they now have access to ones. It's probably elitist. I completely acknowledge that. But I don't know. I think it's really bad if a team only plays 4 of their 6 games. And in the cases of the Good Squad and Royal Titans, they don't even get to play 4. 4 full matches. So yeah, I think that would do it. And then I don't know, they can adopt the RLCS rule, um, two people have to um, not be in probation status. I don't know. I mean, the other thing to do is, I don't know. I don't envy the person that has to flag all the accounts. But if there's some weird, with all these teams that played up, excuse me. Sorry, something in my throat. With all these like mismatched teams or whatever, because there were a lot of teams that are playing up. I don't know, throw them somewhere else. Throw them in an average circuit. Because again, like all the teams that caused problems that I saw this season were, basically look like first-time teams and teams not understanding how placement worked. So that would be my suggestion to IGL. I don't know how practical it is, but I just, again, I don't want to have another circuit where I don't play matches. And on that front as well, they need to do IGL. I'm calling them out on this. They need to apply this evenly, and they can't go rescheduling at the last minute, because that means these schedules aren't fixed, and a lot of things can be changed. Call back to previous problems. There needs to be consistency applied across the board. So IGL needs to do it one way, because I know of a team in my club that got a reschedule, that had an opponent change because of forfeits, and I just think that's stupid. So that means the schedule is flexible as possible. So I would like, I don't know if, I don't think the IGL is, necessarily league for vetting, but I think it's getting to the point where it's kind of getting out of hand with these forfeits. So, basically putting all newer teams on probation and, making them all play each other and seeing who survives. That might be best, because the teams that want to quit, I don't know. I don't know how IGL can solve it, but I think they need to do something. Because I think it's whether fair or not, it is actually reflective of IGL. And again, they do a lot of good things. They do things well. Again, I have minor complaints, but I think it's a great introduction to competitive play. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. The only other suggestion I would make, is to make the season longer. I don't know what that would look like. So there's like a 2-week downtime, so we have 46 weeks. So they can do it 1 or 2. So okay, so here's what I got. So there's a 2-week downtime. So they can go to 3 circuits. Um, they don't necessarily have to like line it up, but they can pretty much start roughly on the same time. And then you have like a week to play with or whatever. So 52 weeks a year, you knock off, 6 weeks for downtime, 2 between each circuit. Now you're at 46. So you have 45. So that's 15 weeks for a circuit. You can do something like an 11-week circuit. Or 10 week, 5 weeks, or do something maybe 8. Stage your tournament champions. Do something like that. I don't know. But like you have, because I think 2 weeks is more than enough, because like it could be 3. So we're at 41. So we go down to 39. So that's 13 weeks. So you have like 9 and 4 then. So you have 13 weeks for a circuit, 3-week downtime, 2 weeks, to whenever. I think doing a 9-week with still 4 weeks of playoffs might work. You could go to 8 and 5. That's 2 more games, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if 5 weeks of playoffs, in the current structure, because that means that's a 32-team bracket. You could technically then go back to some of the old ways. I don't know, where you have a mix and match, or you do your tournament champions in playoffs week 4 and 5, and the division playoffs, are 1, 2, 3, and 4. I don't know. It's just a suggestion. But I think just increasing the amount. I think increasing the amount of games. I think increasing the amount of games would be better. Because then I think that would put 5. It probably wouldn't change the math too much. You'd probably need 5 and 3 to get in. And there'd probably be some 5 and 3 teams that would miss it. And when you don't have any repeats in your schedule, that would be, I don't know how much 2 games make a difference, but again, that's like a 2-month league, and then a month of playoffs. And you're not necessarily rushing things how it kind of feels for IGL. I don't know. Because this is right now a 13-week plan with 3 weeks off, and then 2 floating weeks. So that's kind of where I'm leaning. Maybe you could use those 2 weeks for whatever a season is. Line it up with, and have a fake IGL Worlds, and just have all the teams from the previous 3 circuits just playing one big granddaddy tournament or something, and hammer it out in 2 weeks. I don't know. And then, as always, for scheduling, I've thrown this out before, but start going to a set slash flexible schedule. Just basically line out like 4 or 5 days. Um, you know, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, something like that. Because yeah, I know that's not necessarily an IGL, but there were rumors floating around of and of teams trying to abuse goodwill by saying, "Oh, we're only playing on this day," um, which is a problem I've run into in the past. Um, and I know that COVID world still throws everything off, and I'm willing to allow for that. But there were a couple instances of people bringing this to admin's attention in the IGL Discord. So it's either that or making the scheduling, having some sort of scheduling function within the site software work a little better. I don't. This goes back to having the time and resources. So I don't know what's on IGL's plate. I don't know what their income is. I don't know who they're paying, people, or if it's all volunteer. But that's probably just like, it might be in the realm of just a wild and audacious goal. But I would like to kind of see to that, and see how that works, because I don't know if flexible, having a whole week to schedule something is necessary. Well, not necessarily working out. Is a contributing factor, or if you just say, like, we play these nights of the week. If you can't play on these nights, don't sign up. Again, it sucks for people who have a flexible work schedule, like retail or some nonsense like that, and I get that. But again, I feel like we might be approaching the point in IGL where there's just too many instances of just teams not wanting to work together. All they care about is getting the W, in the win column, rather than actually trying to play the match. And I think the league is better off playing matches. And the other, you know what? I got another. Also, forfeits. I don't know how IGL can fix forfeit recording, but it's not good. And honestly, I think it should be a 3-0 result for each match. So 9 goals. And then that, I think it has to be noticeable to throw everything out of whack. I don't know, to draw attention to a forfeit or whatnot, because I just don't think a 3-0 victory is good enough. It helps your goals against, but it doesn't really help your goal differential. And for the most part, match win percentage just doesn't, all the calculations associated with, match, game win percentage and that sort of thing, it just doesn't matter. Because we just don't play enough matches to where it, truly matters. So yeah, that's just my thoughts, and I know it's a lot of them, but I do think IGL needs to look at. I don't know if this is isolated, but this is one person's view, and again, this happens when 3 teams get randomly drawn into the same basically same group, and have a shared schedule, basically. Like, that's not fun. It's not fun. It's not fun to play, sign up for something, not play matches. Like, I won't play my matches. I don't care if I get beat. It's in my ones. Like, I don't care if I get beat. And I think having a match result, matters. um, even if I don't get killed, or even if I do get killed, I should say. Um, but you know, I probably am just taking a weird approach to that. Yeah. So those are my thoughts. From a YouTube perspective, this will probably go up sometime tomorrow. So I'm recording this in the afternoon on August 18th, 2020. But yeah, I don't know, and I don't even know on my suggestions if this is feasible as well. But I'm gonna try and just kind of see what happens. I'm more than willing to be patient about things, but I think some improvements need to be made, or there could be an exit. I don't know if it'll just be me or if it's just other people, but that's how I feel about it. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for putting up with this, probably hot take. We'll see y'all next time.